Right, so before we even do the My Account page, we need to differentiate between whether we're logged in or logged out. And then we also want to do the log out capability as well. So what I want to do is show a certain page if I'm logged in, so the My Account page. And then this should not say log in if I am logged in, which I am. It should say log out. So we need to configure the header. So that's what we'll work on now. So if we go into our code in the header component, so if we go into top in header, and we're going to go on the desktop header in here. What I want to do is handle the sign in. So if you scroll down all the way at the bottom here, you can see this link tag here, which is link to, and then the routes enum.login. And then we have the login link in here. But what I want to do is create a new component. And this is going to be the sign in component, which handles whether I'm signed in or signed out. So underneath the toggle or after the toggle, I'm going to create a sign in component. So now all I need to do is create that, but what I'm going to do is cut this and put it in here. So let's pass this in sign in here, and then in the header, I'm going to create a new file called signin.tsx and RAFCE, and this is the sign in component. So essentially I want to paste in what I have here like so, and then all I can do now, because I've got it here, I can import it in the mobile one as well. But let me just quickly import react.fc and now save. So all I need to do now is import this in here and also go into mobile header, and where I have the link, do the same again. And we just need to import this in as well. So now at this section, we're going to be importing a new library called React Firebase hooks, which essentially is getting hooks for Firebase, and we can use them to do certain capabilities. So let's close this down, and let's close our terminal down and do yarn add React Firebase hooks like so. Because what we can do is we can get the states of whether we're logged in or not and so on. And you can also do it with your auth, but what we want to do is show you how to do it with React Firebase hooks. So in sign in here in this component, I want to check if there is a user first of all. So const, and then in array brackets, we want to destructure the user, and we also want to destruct loading. And this comes from the hook called use auth state. And this use auth state comes from React Firebase hooks. And all it requires, if you hover over it, it requires an auth object. Now, this is what we would import from our lib Firebase folder. So essentially, we've exported our auth and we're importing into use auth state in here. So now what we can do is we can essentially console log user and so on. So console log user, but what I also want to do is handle the loading state. So if loading, return loading, otherwise we can console log the user like that. Now we need to just run yarn dev and save everything. So essentially, if we inspect the console, we should determine or know whether there is a user or not. So in sign in TSX here, we have this user here. Now you can see here all the information for the user. So if we get this out, you can see email verified is true. The email for this user is imrancodes@gmail.com and so on. So the user essentially is logged in. So that is important. So now we need to handle the UI based on that. So let's go into here where we have the code in here. So what we can do now with the user information is add guard clauses in. So if there's no user, so if no user, or we can check if user is null, then what we want to do is return this here. So return this over here. But if there is a user, then what we want to do is return logout. So this is going to help us differentiate whether we are logged in or not, or the user logged in. So here it says log out. So that means that the user is logged in. So that's fine. So essentially, if the user is logged in, we want to be able to navigate to the My Account page and also be able to log out. So what I'm going to do is just bring in my code here. So paste this in, but essentially it's a link tag to My Account, which is the account that we need to create. So we'll do that later. And we also need to create in the sign out user function that we will sign the user out on. So let's go ahead and fix these issues. So let's delete this console log now. And what we want to do is go into routes enum and create a my account or an account routes, which is equal to /account. That's an easy one. So that's satisfied. And we also need to have navigate. So let's import navigate. So const navigate is equal to use navigate. And now finally, we just need to create this function, which is quite simple to do. So in Firebase Auth, what I want to do is create a new folder called sign out. And in here, do index.ts, export const of the sign out user, which is essentially an async function. And if I save everything here, it takes in navigate, so we don't need the loading state. We can essentially do sign out, and this comes from Firebase Auth like so, and we just need to pass in the auth. So let's import that in as well. So we don't need this finally. We have the catch handled. We would do await sign out, and then we would you could do an alert saying you have been signed out, and then we could also navigate back to the login page or whatever page you want. So I'll just do it to the home page. So now we just need to import navigate function and then make sure this sign out user works. So let's import this in from our lib Firebase over here. And now let's save everything. So essentially, if there's not a user, then we have the login functionality over here, which navigates us to the login page. If there is a user, then we can go to my account and we can also log out as well. So if we go into the browser, now you can see this UI has popped up here saying we can go to my account or we can sign out. What I want to do is go to my account. Again, this page is not found. We need to hook this up. So let's just quickly sign out. And now it says you have been signed out. And now you can see the login page is showing here. So that's how easy it is to sign out. What we're going to be doing next is handling the my account page, which is where we are going to be able to update the email address, the password, and so on. So we'll do that next.